The cracked pot. This story comes from ancient Indian folklore, often shared in Hindu traditions. Imagine a water bearer in India who had two large pots. One was perfect, but the other had a deep crack. Every day, the bearer walked from the stream to his master's house. But by the time he arrived, the cracked pot was only half full. The perfect pot was proud, but the cracked pot was miserable and ashamed of its failure. One day, the cracked pot apologized to the bearer, saying, "I'm sorry I'm so useless." But the bearer just smiled and said, "Did you notice that there are beautiful flowers on your side of the path, but none on the other side? I knew about your flaw, so I planted seeds on your side. Every day, as we walked back, you watered them." The poisoned arrow. This is a famous Buddhist parable from the Pali Canon, told by the Buddha to a student who was too focused on abstract philosophy. There was once a man who was wounded by a poisoned arrow. His family rushed a doctor to him, but the man stopped the doctor and said, "Wait, before you pull this out, I need to know. Who shot me? What was his name? Was he tall or short? What kind of wood is this arrow made of? What feathers are on the end?" The Buddha's point was simple. The man would die before he ever got those answers. The only thing that actually mattered was pulling out the arrow and healing the wound. The empty pot. A classic Chinese folktale that has been used for centuries to teach children and leaders. An aging emperor in China needed an heir, so he gave a special seed to every child in the kingdom. "Whoever grows the most beautiful flower in a year," he said, "will become the next emperor." A young boy named Ping planted his seed and tended to it every single day, but nothing grew. When the year was up, all the other children showed up at the palace with massive, vibrant flowers. Ping stood there with nothing but an empty pot of dirt, feeling like a failure. But when the emperor saw Ping's empty pot, he smiled. He revealed that he had boiled all the seeds before giving them out. None of them could have ever grown. All the other children had swapped their seeds to look successful, but only Ping was honest enough to bring the truth. The scorpion and the frog. While it has roots in ancient Persian and Sanskrit fables, the modern version we know today became a staple of 20th century literature and film. A scorpion wants to cross a river but can't swim. He asks a frog for a ride on his back. The frog is terrified and says, "No way, you'll sting me." The scorpion argues, "Why would I do that? If I sting you, we both drown." The frog thinks it over, realizes the logic, and agrees. They get halfway across the river, and suddenly, zap, the scorpion stings the frog. As they both start to sink, the frog cries out, "Why? Now we're both going to die." The scorpion just sighs and says, "I couldn't help it. It's my nature." It's a dark, cautionary tale about character. The blind men and the elephant. This is an ancient parable from India, shared by Jains, Buddhists, and Hindus. 6 blind men were asked to describe an elephant. One felt the leg and said, "An elephant is like a pillar." Another felt the tail and said it's like a rope. The third felt the trunk and insisted it was like a thick snake. One felt the ear and said it was a fan. Another, the tusk, said it was a spear. And the last felt the side and called it a wall. They started shouting, each one certain the others were lying. A wise man passing by stopped them and said, "You are all right, but you are all wrong. Each of you has only felt one tiny part of the whole truth." The 2 wolves. This powerful story is rooted in Cherokee legend, passed down through Native American oral traditions. Imagine an old Cherokee grandfather sitting by a fire with his young grandson. He tells the boy that a fight is going on inside every single one of us, a fight between 2 wolves. One wolf is evil. He's full of anger, envy, greed, and ego. The other wolf is good. He's filled with joy, peace, love, and humility. The grandson thinks about this for a second, looks up at his grandfather, and asks, "Well, which wolf wins?" The old man simply replies, "The one you feed." The deaf frog. This is a modern fable of unknown origin, though it's become a staple in motivational speaking and leadership training worldwide because of its clever twist. A group of frogs is traveling through the woods when two of them suddenly fall into a deep, dark pit. The other frogs gather around the top, and seeing how deep it is, they start shouting down, "It's over! You'll never get out! Just give up!" One frog listens to them, loses hope, and eventually collapses. But the other frog? He keeps jumping, harder and faster than ever. The crowd at the top keeps yelling for him to stop. But he eventually makes one massive leap and clears the edge. When he gets out, the others ask, "Didn't you hear us?" It turns out the frog was deaf. He thought they were cheering him on the whole time. Starfish Thrower. This beautiful story was adapted from a 1969 essay by Lauren Isley, an American anthropologist and natural science writer. An old man is walking along a beach after a massive storm, and the shore is literally covered in thousands of starfish that have washed up and are dying in the sun. In the distance, he sees a young boy picking them up one by one and throwing them back into the ocean. The man walks up and says, "Son, there are miles of beach and thousands of starfish. You can't possibly save them all. What does it even matter?" The boy looks at the starfish in his hand, tosses it into the waves, and says, "It mattered to that one